Good day everyone. This is my second video tutorial. My name is Matthew T. Sabasales. I am your friendly science teacher from Zamboanga del Sur National High School. And in this second video tutorial, I'm going to share with you some insights and viewpoints regarding our lesson in grade 7 science on rock and mineral resources. This is actually the handout wherein it was prepared by Mrs. Lindy Lave Lagdamin. So, are you ready? But before that, let us try to have a fresh review of the previous lessons that we have discussed. Last time, we have discussed on the context of soil formation and some other insights about soil. So, if you can still recall that, then perhaps you can uh, look into your handouts on that and also try to review our previous video. But this time, let us talk about rocks and mineral resources. Rocks, in the definition we have here, it says rocks are actually having similarities and differences with regards to stones. No, perhaps if you are going to look around you, you can probably see some of these things around you. But what could be the difference between rocks and stones? Basically, humans have been using all of these ideas of rocks and these rocks and stones, even sands and gravels, for several reasons. No, some of them are using for construction purposes. For more than million years already, our ancestors live in caves and they carved rocks. They use these rocks and some of these stones to make no several lots of things. For example, for hunting animals, cultivating crops, or for example, for making weapons in protecting themselves from harm from different predators. So the following materials used today, these rocks, stones, and gravel, are used in building roads, monuments, and various artworks. So what could be the major differences between rocks and stones? So in your handout, you can probably see in there some specific points on the differences between rocks and stones. There are 8 statements here, but I will not anymore individually look into this. You will be the one to read that one and try to comprehend the meaning of these particular differences. But just to cite few, rocks are actually bigger in scale compared to stones. In fact, stones are actually uh, fragments, broken fragments from a bigger rock formations. So in Earth, we can really find the major foundation of our Earth's crust as having these huge rocks. And later on, when these rocks eventually uh, go through several processes such as degradation and erosion, for example, or weathering, the one that we have discussed a while ago, some of the portions of these rocks will be broken down into pieces and later on it will become stones. That's the major difference. So, when we say rock, dako yun na siya. Ug kaning mga stones gagmay. So, gikan sa rock ang mga stones. But there could be some fragments of rock wherein still it remains a rock. So, it's a piece of rock, but it will still further go through process and purification, or we do not really consider it purification, but it might be softening of the edge, and later on it will become stone. Okay, so but you can find lots of stones around you, and sometimes you've been using these stones. That's the primary differences of the two. And uh, different individuals from our society today were utilizing these rocks because one good thing about this rock is that they contain several important materials. Perhaps for other technological advancement, these particular materials, which were actually embedded in rocks, could also be harnessed by individuals, by businessmen, or perhaps by engineers. They get these materials coming from rocks, embedded in the rocks, and they get it, and the process actually is what we call mining. So the mining of rocks, we have here in your handout the mining of rocks. So the mining of rocks for their metal content has been considered one of the most important factors of human progress. So the industry has raised levels of economy in some regions, in part because of metals available from rocks in those areas. Basically, the materials that I'm talking about embedded on rocks could sometimes be minerals and sometimes metals which are important in some of our industries. In our electronic industries today, we utilize these metals, and these metals comes from or embedded in rock. They settle on rocks, and we sometimes get this in a process of mining underground and obtain it in a certain process, and eventually we utilize the metals. So here are list of mines in the Philippines. So for example, coal is actually a certain component of our rock, and we have our coal reserve from in Malangas. It's actually near in our locality in Malangas area, no? We also have our copper mine in Buyungan and Kanatuan, and gold, no? Perhaps we are very familiar with gold. We usually have this gold because this is actually a precious mineral, and there are lots of uses of this gold, not only in the technological field but also in ornaments, and in some of our jewelries we utilize gold because it is very very shiny, and there is this characteristics of gold in which we humans are very attracted to this shiny material such as this gold, and we actually decorate ourselves with this. And we have our uh, gold mine in Kanatuan. And perhaps another example of mineral that can be found on the rocks are nickel. So we have our Buyungan mine in Buyungan. We have our nickel mine there. And here are some pictures. You can probably see the pictures over here. The copper iron ore. When we say ore are actually the fragment of the rock which we actually mine. So some of these minerals are embedded on the ore, and we obtain this ore from underground through mining. So we have our miners. They obtain this ore and break the pieces of this ore and obtain the minerals found on it. So we have our picture here in our handout, the copper iron ore. So which means this is an ore wherein there are actually copper and iron inside. So when we obtain this iron, iron is actually basically useful in some of our electrical appliances and our wirings, no? So iron filings, so we can obtain iron filings, and there could be also lots of uses of this iron filings. There's a picture of it. And some of this ore contains precious minerals such as quartz. Quartz could also be useful in some particular technology that we have. And copper, for example, copper wires, we are these are useful in our electrical wiring. So copper. So we have here a picture of a copper ore. So you can have this, no? I can actually change the color of that. So for a while, so the color of this could be something. Dili siya pwede ma-change. So we can just have that as our picture, no? So what could be these minerals? Minerals is a naturally occurring substance uh, representable by a chemical formula that is usually solid and inorganic and has a crystal structure. Later on, I will show you a video about these minerals, a short idea about minerals. But basically, it is a different form of it is different from a rock, which can be an aggregate of minerals or non-minerals and does not have a specific chemical composition. Because basically, rocks is a mixture of all of these substances and chemical substances. But a mineral is highly specific. That is why rock is different from mineral, because mineral has a distinct chemical composition. So the exact definition of mineral is under debate today, because there could be lots of mineral, and based from the characteristics of the different mineral, we have several conflict with our definition on mineral, especially with respect to the requirement of valid species, be abiogenic ba siya or biogenic, because there are some minerals wherein it is actually taken from uh, when we say abiogenic, meaning it is not coming from a living thing. But when we say biogenic, it is coming from genic, meaning its genesis, its beginning. So bio means life. So the beginning of this, no, there is a debate to that, because some people believe that some minerals comes from living things, but others also are trying to say that no, it's not. It's an abiogenic, but some would say biogenic. That is why there could be a big debate to that. And to a lesser extent, with regard to it having an ordered atomic structure, since they have an ordered atomic structure, kaya ang iyang atomic structure uniform siya. So that is why most of these minerals exist in a crystalline form. But there are also other minerals wherein it does not exist in crystalline form. I will show you a video for a while. So try to watch the video carefully. Okay? So a few minutes watching the video, and we will return talking about minerals and its characteristics.
Hi, I'm Emerald Robinson, and in this What Is video, we're going to answer the question, what is a mineral? Mineralogists define a mineral as a substance that is natural, which means that humans don't manufacture it, is a solid, that is, it keeps its form at room temperature, and has a distinct chemical makeup, which means it has a specific chemical formula that's consistent throughout the mineral. This is true whether the mineral is made of a single element or of a combination of elements. A specific chemical makeup distinguishes minerals from rocks, which are mixtures of many different materials. In addition to these qualities, most mineralogists agree that minerals are abiogenic, that is, not produced in living organisms, and that they have atoms that are arranged in a specific order. This property results in many minerals taking the form of crystals. Mineralogists have identified almost 5,000 unique kinds of minerals. They're classified by physical properties such as color, hardness, luster, how they reflect light, and radioactivity. Despite Earth's wide variety of minerals, about 90% of our planet's crust is made up of minerals composed largely of silicon and oxygen, called silicate minerals. The most common silicate minerals are called feldspar and quartz. Minerals don't just make up the earth, they also make up about 4% of your body mass. Because minerals can't be made by the body, it's important that we get them in our diet. Some of the more important ones include calcium and phosphorus, important for bones and teeth, iron, essential in red blood cells, and potassium and sodium, required for healthy nerve cells. We also require trace minerals like copper, zinc, and iodine. Humans use minerals in everything from cereals to batteries to shampoos to pet foods. In fact, at least 30 minerals are present in the computer you're using to watch this video.
For thousands of how-to and advice videos on any topic, visit monkeysea.com.
Okay? That's the video. So I hope you have learned something about minerals. So the branch of science that deals with the study of this mineral is what we call mineralogy. So that's the study of minerals. And out of our idea of mineralogy, we have learned that minerals have different characteristics. So here are the different characteristics of minerals. There are around 8 that we can actually talk about this time. So try to again look at your handout, but you can also see our screen over here, and you can find the different characteristics of minerals as well. So the first characteristic of mineral is hardness. Gahi gid siya. So hardness in the definition is the ability to resist being scratched. Dili kay siya basta-basta ma-scratch kanang kuan bitaw kanang ma gisi gamay or something like ma scratch. So that's what we call hardness. And due to this property of minerals, some of these minerals which possess hardness in its characteristic are very useful to us, no? Because we make use of its characteristic. We make use of its ability so that we can have some of our no life activities more meaningful and more easier. So we usually use this hardness, no? Another characteristics of mineral is that luster. In fact, this makes minerals so attractive to humans because when we say luster, that's the ability of or the characteristic of a mineral to reflect light, meaning they become shiny. Gold, for example, they are shiny. Silver, for example, they are very shiny, and we usually use it for jewelries, no? In making jewelries. And no, there are also other uh, minerals which also possess luster on its. But there are also other minerals which have lesser luster ability, no? So we have two types of major types of minerals, metallic and non-metallic. But the most common common mineral that possess luster are metals, metallic minerals. Another characteristic of mineral is this color. It's very obvious when you say color, you can look at the different colors of these minerals. Some of these minerals are green, blue, and no red. Rubies, for example, are red in context, seemingly like brownish in color, and you can actually utilize the different colors of this for ornaments, for jewelries, and several other purposes. That is one of the major distinct characteristic of minerals. It has colors. And another one, number four, is streak. Streak is a color of a powdered mineral. Because basically, for example, ruby, more man siya brownish or reddish in color. When you scratch that one, scratch, or if you use a nail, you scratch the so-called ruby, eventually this particular scratch would generate powdered form of the mineral. And the powdered form of the mineral is not actually the same as the color of the ruby. So the scratching of it, sometimes there are actually minerals, when you scratch that one, the color of the scratch particles or pieces of the mineral is the same as with the mineral itself. But sometimes they differ. That is also one major characteristic. We call that streak. Na nakuha ninyo? Streak. When you rub the mineral on a certain rough edge, so for example, uh, uh, what are other minerals that we can think of? You can look into that in the internet or in some of these. But there are different colors, and when you scratch that one, streak that one, or perhaps rub that one mineral, it will produce a streak. And sometimes parehas ang color, sometimes po dili parehas ang color. But there are also some minerals that won't streak because they are very, very hard and they are very, very difficult to streak, to produce a streak. Okay? And number five, the fifth characteristic that I would like to share with you is specific gravity. So specific gravity is the mass or the weight of the mineral. This actually refers to the ratio between the mass or the weight of the mineral and the mass or the weight of an equal volume of water. Equal volume of water. So the ratio of that is referred to specific gravity. In short, it is also called SG. So SG can be determined by dividing its weight in the air by the weight of an equal volume of water. So quartz, for example, uh, has a density of 2.65, is 2.65 times as heavy as the same volume of water. So when you say specific gravity, we could refer that to the density of the mineral. Density of the mineral. So density is having a specific unit. In higher grade level, you will be learning about density. But as for this time, when we talk about density, it's the ratio. Ratio gali magamit ang division diha. So ang ratio niya, ang weight niya, atong gi-measure yung weight sa air, ug napod tay specific equivalent weight of water. Gi-divide na to na siya, and that is what we call specific gravity or density. Okay, so for example, quartz, ang iyang density is 2.65, which means 2.65 times as heavy siya at the same volume of water. Mas bugat pa siya sa water. Hindi po siya yung nga bugat, but ang iyang molecules mas compact kaysa sa water. 2.65 times. So that's the idea, no? But when you say another property is cleavage. So cleavage, look at your handout. So it's the way in which mineral breaks along smooth flat plains is called cleavage. So this breaks occurs along planes or weakness in a mineral structure. So namin sometimes portion of the mineral nga weak siya dito nga portion, and if that particular weak portion will be subjected to force, eventually it will break up. Ang tawag atong mga break portion is what we call cleavage. So mineral breaks along in an irregular surface. It does not have cleavage. Muna po uban nga mga mineral nga wala siya cleavage. So bisag asa iyang mga wala gid siya, no? It's actually very hard. Another characteristic of mineral are fracture. So when a mineral breaks irregularly, the breaks are called fractures. So hindi ka babungkag na siya, magka pieces. The broken pieces of that is what we call fractures. So the breaks can be described as grainy, hackly, or jagged, or conchoidal or curve. Conchoidal curve ang iyang fracture, or splintery. Kanang na mga edge ba murag splinters, no? Something like that. So another characteristic, the eighth one, is tenacity. So this tenacity means how well a mineral resist breakage. So ang iyang pagka-ability to resist breakage, so lisod gani siya mabuak, that is referred to tenacity. So tenacity is described in many terms, no? Different terms. Brittleness, brittle, the first one over here. So when a mineral easily breaks into pieces, ma-crush siya into angular fragments, like kanang mga quartz, kung mabungkag siya, eventually, ma-pieces to pieces kani siya, brittle na siya. Pero nauban ng mga mineral nga dili siya brittle. So another tenacity terms that we could talk about could be malleability, malleable, being malleable. So gold is one of the most example of this malleable mineral. And copper, for example, when you say malleability, pwede na to siya thrown into thin sheets. Pwede to pipion, makamold na niya into different shapes. So that's referred to malleability. The next one is sectile. So mineral can be cut with a knife into thin shavings. So pwede na to siya mura bitaw ka na magtahal kag lapis. So kung ang mineral pwede nimo matahal in that manner, thin shavings, that's sectile. And some minerals are flexible. Ma-bend. Pwede nimo siya i-bend, and mabalik na mo siya yung original shape. So, one example of flexible mineral is kaning selenite o gypsum. You can look into the picture of the selenite and gypsum in the internet. In the video that you have just watched, you have probably seen gypsum, no? It was shown in the video. And the last tenacity characteristic is this elasticity, being elastic. Stretch siya, din balik na siya form, stretch. So, mineral bends and regains its original shape when released. So, muscovite and biotite, mica are actually examples of minerals that can perform elasticity. That's part of our context of characteristics on tenacity. So, when you say tenacity, it could be either brittleness, malleability, sectility, flexibility, elasticity. Brittle, malleable, sectile, flexible, elastic. So, these are the five different terms in terms of tenacity. And in the video that you have just watched, there are around known 5,000 minerals already. And here in our handouts, it was speculated that it's just around 2,800 types of minerals which have been identified on this planet. Of this, only 100 are considered ore minerals. When you say ore minerals, meaning we can mine them, we can get them from rocks, rock deposits. So ore is a naturally occurring rock containing high concentrations of one or more metals that can be profitably mined. So when we say ore minerals refer to these particular rocks that contains metallic minerals. Ores occurs as large bodies of rocks called ore deposits, which are metal-bearing mineral deposits. So there are types of minerals, metallic and non-metallic. So when you say metallic, present a metallic shines or luster in thin appearance and contains metals in raw form. So examples of metallic minerals are iron, no, iron ore, bauxite, manganese ore, and when we say metallic minerals, they are classified into two: ferrous minerals and non-ferrous minerals. So ferrous minerals contains iron, na siya iron. Ferrous from the word Fe, iron man ng Fe, no? Ferrous. The word ferrous, it means iron. So ferrous minerals contains iron, manganese, and chromite. Again, you can look into the internet and find some pictures of this so that you can visualize, you can see. But I can also show you, no, here. So try to see some of these pictures ay Facebook. Tulungan sa kanto ng Facebook nako. So manganese. Oh, muna mga manganese, no? See? Try nyo. Iron ore. See, try to look at that one. No? Muna mga manganese. So, this one, Mn manganese. So muna siya mga pictures sa manganese. Manganese ore. This one ang manganese ore. Napot tayo mga iron ore dali. Wait. Here are some pictures of iron ore. See? Opo na yung mga iron. So, iron actually sometimes react with oxygen and eventually, try to look into this portion over here, eventually, they will have this particular color. Mura siya taya o color, no? Iron ore man na siya. So, those are just few examples. And there are also some particular non-ferrous mineral, meaning it do not contain iron. So, for example, gold ore, silver ore, copper ore, and lead. So, I will again show you, for example, gold ore. See, these are gold ore. You can find the gold embedded or actually deposited on this particular ore. These are rock particular formations, pieces of rocks underground. So, muna mga gold ore. See? So, napot ay copper ore o silver ore or lead ore. Try to see. Silver na lang. Para nakita madugay. Silver ore. Silver po siya color, no? Muna siya ipang mina sa itong mga miners and they use this for their business and they actually, because these are actually very expensive materials. So the important metallic mineral found in the Philippines include gold, copper, iron, chromite, nickel, cobalt, and platinum. Platinum is a very widely used material in aeronautics in the field of making planes, no? Platinum kay di man kay ni siya good mo init o kana mo na platinum. So ang platinum bisan pag imuha ng tagaan og init kayo, ma-expose siya into several degrees in high temperature, dili kay siya mo absorb og heat. So pwede siya kanang mga init nga mga things, dili siya basta-basta di siya basta-basta mo init. So ma-prevent ang heat. So we can actually have that, no? Sometimes we use that one in making planes. So this particular mines are found on different places in the Philippine archipelago, in Baguio, in the province of Benguet, and Surigao area to Davao area, Palawan and Surigao, and there are major producers of nickel. So iron is the main material for steel bars used in buildings and road constructions. Copper is also in making electrical wires. Tin, kanang lata, is the material for milk cans and other preserved food products. No? Nickel is a mixed with copper or other metals to form stainless wares. Kanang imong stainless steel nga lutuanan, no? We can actually make use of this material. Gold, important in making jewelry. Aluminum is a necessary in construction because we usually utilize this aluminum because they do not rust, dili sila magtaya, no? And these are actually very important raw material in making buildings and structures, no? But there are also non-metallic minerals. So non-metallic minerals either present in non-metallic shine, wala sila, dili kay sila shiny, and do not contain extractable metals in their chemical composition. Wala kay sila limestone, mica, and gypsum. I will show you a picture of limestone. Oh, this one are limestones. Dili kay siya shiny. Non-metallic ni siya. These are examples of non-metallic minerals. Gypsum. Oh, here are gypsum, no? Nasa mga color-color pulusahay, no? But these are actually non-metallic, crystalline in form. Kani siya, oh. These are gypsum, and gypsum could be useful in some of our construction materials, no? In constructing buildings like this, no? We usually utilize gypsum in the structures that we have in our buildings so that it will appear beautiful like this, no? Try to look at that one. In our decorations, it is made up of gypsum. So what else? Isa pa tong nader eh. Gypsum, mica, or I do not know how to pronounce that. Mica. Oh, see? These are also examples of mica. We can actually make use of this mica in constructions, no? In our decorations, in our jewelries, no? In our like this, no? This one is actually made up of mica in our lampshade, no? These are very expensive minerals. Non-metallic siya. So ngano ka, why do you think the Philippines have lots of these minerals in us? And there are also countries which are also producers of different types of minerals. Ngano ka, what do you think is the reason nganong we have these minerals in the different areas of the world? Basically, these minerals were deposited into the rocks because of tremendous heat. And when you have discussed your concept on maps in the first part of our discussion in the fourth quarter, you have discussed that in the Earth, the globe also contains, no, around the Pacific Ocean, there is this huge amount of tiny openings, or not tiny openings, but openings wherein lots of heat comes from the Earth will move out from this region. That is why we call it the Pacific Ring of Fire. So if you can still recall, this is the map of the Earth. The Philippines is over here. This region over here is filled with different volcanoes. So most of these countries that is lying in the Pacific Ring of Fire, we call it the Ring of Fire, because there are many volcanic activities in this region, and sometimes earthquake could take place on this region because of the tremendous pressure generated out from the heat within the ground. Basically, there are also tiny openings, no, openings and trenches break on the rock formation in the crust that allows this, for example, lava or magma to move out from more molten rock to move out towards the surface of the earth through volcanic eruption or sometimes, no. And the Philippines lies in the Pacific Ring of Fire. That is why the Philippines have lots of minerals. Minerals actually are produced out of tremendous heat and pressure. Out of the pressure and heat beneath the Earth's surface, ma-process itong mga rocks dito, ang mga substances, ang mga chemical compositions, and they together form into one major structure. We call that minerals or deposits. So the Philippines is listed 5th mineral country in the world because we have lots of mineral resources. 3rd in gold reserve. Imagine that. fourth in copper and fifth in nickel. In the richness of the Philippines in terms of mineral resources is being attributed to its location. Ano man, nabilong man ta sa, naaman ta sa, gitawag na to Pacific Ring of Fire. So Pacific Ring of Fire is an area in the basin of the Pacific Ocean where the large number of earthquakes and volcanic eruption occurs. So the Ring of Fire is sometimes called the Circum-Pacific Belt. I'm going to highlight that one. See that one? The Circum-Pacific Belt. See? Have you seen that one? That's also what we call the Pacific Ring of Fire. The very individual or scientist who study the Earth and the processes that occurs in it and explains to us the reason of the rock formation and this particular molten, semi-molten materials called magma and the rising of this magma to the surface. Here was the difference between magma and lava. Molten materials na sila, mga molten, when you say molten, alanay because of tremendous heat and pressure. Molten rocks. So kung napala siya ilalim sa yuta, perhaps in the lower crust, lower portion of our crust, magma ang tawag ana niya. But if it settles already through volcanic eruption or movement of the magma towards the surface, we call it, kung maabot na sa surface, mahimo na siyang gitawag nitong lava. And you know what will happen? Kung kaning lava, mo harden na siya, kinigabot niya sa surface, init mo kailan, init mo na sa ilalom, inigabot niya sa ibabaw, sa surface of the land, it will harden, and because of the cool atmosphere that we have, inig mabugnaw na siya, it will eventually harden. Excuse me po. It will eventually become a rock. And a very special type of rock, we call it the igneous rock. So kanang magma ilalim sa yuta, inabot na niya sa surface of the ground, we call it lava. Kung muharden ang lava, mahimo na siyang igneous rock. And the Pacific Ring of Fire also have lots of trenches. Unsa man ang trenches? Trenches are depressions in the ground. Mura ba ka ng bangag dito sa ilalom sa yuta or ilalom sa dagat. And the deepest trench in the world is actually located in the Philippines. That's actually what we call the Marianas Trench. That is actually near Davao area. Diya sa Davao area na dito damom kayo nga trench. We call it the Marianas Trench. So trench depression na siya. Tungod na siya sa mga volcanic activity. Nangabuho na sila dito, nangabangag, nangabuak ang mga rock. And then there is this deep depression. Depression pababa. And when rock actually breaks, we call it fault. Fault ang tawag. Kung break ang, so planar fracture. Fracture meaning na crack or discontinuity of the volume of rock. Kung taning rock ay discontinuity, we call that faults. Okay? Faults ang tawag na kung discontinuity. And these faults lies on some of the connections of our tectonic plates due to the forces in the earth. So this time I will show you some particular map, the Philippine map, and try to show you some of these metallic mineral deposits in the Philippines. So if you can see, there are symbols over here, kanang diamond that represents copper, the triangle represents chromium, and the circle represents aurelium. Aurelium, as we recall, it's referred to what? Ito. Aurelium means correct, gold. Sure, gold jud imong gingon. Gold na siya, gold aurelium. So you can find in here manganese, Mn, Fe, iron kanang star, then ang kanang square, nickel. So you can find it all over the Philippines because we are located in the Circum-Pacific Belt. Or unsa kitay tawag atong Circum-Pacific Belt? Tawag ato the Pacific Ring of Fire. Tungod anang kainit diha in beneath, different minerals will be deposited on the rocks and we can mine them. In some areas nga dili kay sila inana kainit, dili kay ma-produce ang mga minerals. Muna nga kuan kita, wealthy kita in terms of natural resources, these mineral resources. But I do not know what happened to the Philippines, why we still are very poor in terms of economy, where in fact we are rich in mineral resources. Maybe there are some reasons to that, but that is for you to discover. So if you're going to look at this map over here in the Philippines, there are many places that have in the Zamboanga del Sur area over here. We can find star. Unsa itong star? Star is iron. So daghan kitag mga iron diri deposits in the Zamboanga del Sur area. Mo ni Zamboanga del Sur area. Naputay mga circles. Circles represents what? Aurelium, gold. Daghan kitag gold deposits, no? So that is the richness of Zamboanga del Sur in the area here in Mindanao. Only Mindanao. Lantawan ninyong mapa. So we also have the triangle over here. Ano sa itong triangle? Kalimutan ko. Chromium. Chromium is also a very important mineral. You can see chromium. Let me show you a chromium. 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 These are chromium. See? And we can find chromium in some of our food. No? Chromium is found on kani unsa man yung pagkaunan eh. So you can have that one, no? You can find chromium because our body also is needing minerals, iron sa tong blood, no? Chromium, naputay chromium nga kinahanglan sa tong lawas. Calcium. We are actually needing all of this for our bones, no? These are minerals which are not only found in the different technology that we have, but it is also found useful in our body itself. So it's very good really to understand these things. So please enjoy learning. So see, you can find lots of different. So your assignment, you can actually write this down in a one half crosswise. Later on, I will give you an assignment to this. So you can write down the different minerals found in our locality in Zamboanga del Sur lang kanilang area diri. Kita niyo na. And if you are going to look at, I will show you another map. This map will show to us the different trenches, no? These are distribution of active faults and trenches in the Philippines. These active faults, when you say active faults, these faults are constantly moving because of volcanic activity, or sometimes there is a continuous earthquake that is going on this particular active faults. Nganong naman ng mga faults? Because of a crack on the rock in the bedrock of our crust due to pressures in the earth. Perhaps since we are in the Pacific Ring of Fire, mo nang daghan kay mga crack, daghan tag mga faults. These faults are actually useful for us to be benefited of seeing some of these minerals from underground. Now, label the legend. You can look into the map, and you can see over here different trenches. Natin mga trenches. Here in the Davao area, muna ang Davao River Fault. Natay, we have here the Marianas Trench, pinaka-deepest trench in the world. And in the Zamboanga del Sur area, natay ka ng mga broken line. So, ang broken line, nag-represent na sila og trench-related faults. Mga trench-related faults. So, see, tungod anang mga faults na nato diha in our locality, we can observe lots of mineral deposits. No, see, that is the reason. And you can also find another map. I will show you another map in your handout. You can find also another map with regards to active and inactive volcanoes. So this is actually the relationship. There is a big relationship between the presence of many volcanoes in our locality in the Philippines and the presence of many minerals. Because of the presence of this volcano, it could trigger into the formation of many mineral ore, and we can mine these mineral ores, and we can make use of the characteristics of these minerals, and we can make money out of it. So we have lots of volcanoes here in Mindanao. For example, no, Malindang. Malindang is an inactive volcano, but which means several years or billions or thousands of years from the past, there are many active activities in Malindang, and out of that activity in Malindang, because of the tremendous heat of it, it generates huge amount of mineral deposits here in the Zamboanga del Sur area. No? These are actually many, Mount Apo. inactive volcano, Parker, Matutum. So you can actually look into the map and you can find lots of this volcano. Kung ahapon to nakalocate ng mga volcano katong mga trenches, dito po ang daghan kayo nga mga mineral deposits. So see the relationship. So you can look into this map in the end. Okay? So this time I want you to get a sheet of paper and jot down in that sheet of paper the volcanoes. So muna inyong ibutang, no? In a piece of paper. Could be a short quiz. You write this down in a 1/2 crosswise. Then, sa inyong buhaton, then, write all minerals present in the Zamboanga del Sur area. Muna inyong ibutang. Then, isulat po ninyo ang Zamboanga del Sur, capital letter S. Appeal po ninyo ang mga active and inactive volcanoes. Dayon pagkuman po, ibutang po ang mga trenches and faults. Zamboanga del Sur lang. In Zamboanga ito na lang. Just have this, write this down in a 1/2 crosswise. Okay, nakita ninyo ang questions. Ay inyong buhaton. And you can write this your answers to this in a 1/2 crosswise. Give it to your science teacher, and I believe your science teacher will be giving you additional points for this activity. So, perhaps I have to end because I have already consumed around 43 minutes discussing about this handout. So, this is your friendly science teacher from Zamboanga del Sur National High School saying, enjoy learning science. Thank you very much, and once again, good day.